more interactive discussion. Remember, folks, we said a case scenario, and there's some principles about the case. Right? And from students of management and familiar, you know what are some of the key principles of a case when you're doing a case analysis. One of the first principles, the only case is beyond OB and HR and all of those. What's the first principle of a case? Read the case, correct? They have core problems, but in strategy they might not be a core, there be several problems. But there's one key fundamental principle for case analysis. There's no right or wrong. Y'all never heard that before? Y'all never did? Nobody saying yes? Y'all never heard that yet? Right, there is no right or wrong in case analysis. Right? Even though there are some principles that you can't violate, meaning you can't come and say one-on-one is two and argue one-on-one is two. But if you make a mistake, if you calculate one-on-one you put 4, everybody will know that's an error. So you really won't get too much caught up in little technicalities within our reason. But the key thing about case analysis is to really test your reasoning, your analytical skills, your logical skills, and reasoning to an end. So folks, that's what business is about. There's no perfect planning. I don't care if it's Porter from Harvard. There is no perfect plan that any company can do. Plans are works in process. Everybody understand what we're saying? Agree? A plan is a work in process. Right? There's no perfection. So even in business strategy and policy, it is about planning, strategizing. So we're not looking for the correct answer or the perfect answer. We're testing your analytical skills, ability to reason, right? To state what the fact is the fact, but how do you interpret that fact? In other words, if a company gets a rating for 4, and you say it's a minor weakness, you're violating a fact, right? So things like that you would watch for. But again, students can make error. I can tell if a student makes an error and gets a major weakness mixed up or minor weakness, I don't penalize and say, so in an exam, students get things mixed up. But if you say if you wrote it's a minor weakness, but when they look at the arguments you're making, you're writing it if it's a major strength. Nobody won't beat, at least not me. I don't penalize you. No, you should have said it's again, class for purposes of correction. So the point is saying, a student making an error to call a major weakness a minor weakness, but goes on in the arguments, like if it is a major weakness as a 4, he won't get the marks, right? So I'm not looking to catch you doing something wrong. Right? I'm looking at your reasoning and analytical skills, because the strategy is about what companies do. You try to plan, the environment changes, you're trying your best to respond. So even in marketing, if you did marketing, it's not an exact science, even though you use some mathematical models and other principles and various tools to help you in the marketing function. Once you're dealing with human beings, there's no perfection in the kind of solutions, because people can look at a fact and come up with different interpretations, which is what we want you to do in your exam, whether you have a SPACE matrix, a CPM matrix, or analyzing value chain. We want you to be able to think. So let's look at this question, which says you are the consultant for Harley-Davidson. You have been asked to, 1, analyze the CPM and advise the management of the company as to the most, as to the most critical issues they must pay attention to, 10 marks, and secondly, based on the critical issues raised, you are to make recommendations to the company for urgent action. So we are analyzing this CPM. So what's the first thing, or the first approach you're going to have? What's the first thing you're going to have right in the back? What's your name again, sorry? Yes, you. Yes, Christina. What's the first thing you did?
Well, I looked at the industry metrics, which was the most important thing.
So first, that's the first principle, folks. The first thing you should have done, look at those weights. And there are a number of weights, so which weights then will be highlighted? Okay, anybody else? They're all equal? Sorry? Right, so first it says that customer loyalty, according to this, is the most critical industry weight. Everybody agrees, everybody has that? Followed by customer service, product quality, marketing. So, if you did not focus on the weights first, you have some work to do in the basic principles or the initial principles of analyzing a CPM. So what else? Christina, sorry? What did you do there after that? Next thing you did? Beautiful. So she's saying they identify the key weights and then they look at the ratings. And what will these ratings generate? What would these ratings generate? What do ratings generate? No, what do the ratings generate? A weighted score. You looked at weights, you looked at ratings, but the ratings then would generate a weighted score. So you also need to look at that weighted score. So let's say that's somebody else. Anybody else who wanted to go? What else did you do? Did you do anything different, Christina? Alien company, what did you look at after that? Or your speaker, go ahead, what did you look at? I think I'll come and get you all involved in this here. We are participative today and recorded long enough to get on in the back. Yes, madam.
Their rating, like if they have a major strength or a major weakness and how important it is.
So we just highlighted 4 highest weights in the industry which suggest or suggested that these are the most 4 important factors in the industry, right? So you looked at the ratings and what did you conclude?
That their price competitive is the lowest one and that should be focused on the most.
Well, we didn't look at price competitiveness yet. I'm talking about the 4 highest. So what did you conclude from the 4 highest?
That they're doing good in their customer service, customer loyalty, but they need work in product quality and marketing.
Right. Okay. So you're in the exam now. It's a time constraint, correct? So how much time are you going to spend on customer service, customer loyalty, and product quality? Sorry? How much time do you want to spend on that? Why?
Company is performing exceedingly well in those areas.
So what do you say?
You just highlight that those are major strengths.
And continue doing what you're doing. End of story. You don't have to waste time on them. Force. You understand? You don't get to know to show why they're doing well. Keep on doing. So when you get your recommendations, we suggest to Harley Davidson, continue what you're doing for customer service, loyalty, and product quality. Keep doing it. You're doing the right thing. Try to build on it. End of story. So what did you do next?
Well, once we identified the weights, we looked at all of the different ratings that the company would have gotten for those important weights. And then we went on to look at any rating where they would have scored low, regardless of whether or not it was necessarily an important critical success factor.
Everybody agrees? Anybody disagrees? You agree?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
First, do you agree?
Yeah.
Correct. Right. So you've dealt with the most important weights and you realize this company is excelling, but are there any other weights we need to be concerned about? So let's see what weights you said.
We're concerned about price competitiveness as well because it's a major weakness. We also looked at market share since it's like the third highest weighting and they have that as a minor weakness. We also highlighted those issues and marketing as well.
So why marketing? Why do you need to focus on marketing?
Because marketing is a minor weakness for the company.
And what else?
And it's an important critical success factor.
Right. It has one of the highest weights. So it means this is one of the most critical things to their competitiveness and success. So even though we agree the other ones are important, you need to be able to speak to marketing. So we said then, one, you would look at marketing, price competitiveness, what else? Market share. You can look at top management. Financial position. Why is financial position so important?
It has a high rating, so it's a critical success factor. And if you look at its competitors, they're actually rated higher.
Competitors are rated higher. But from a competitive point of view, what's their challenge with this minor weakness for financial position? What is that going to affect that you wrote in your analysis? Did you deal with that? Who dealt with that? Price competitiveness. Let me go right in back for the one lady in the green shirt. I got a long cord today, y'all can't hide it. Long cord. Yes, please.
What's the question again?
Price competitiveness, I'm saying how much of an issue is price competitiveness even though it has a weight of 0.07? Not total financial position, sorry. Financial position. How critical or important, or what attention, put it this way, what attention will you pay to financial position even though it has a weight of 0.07? And why should you pay attention to it? Anybody in the group?
So we should analyze their value chain to see how they are managing costs, and also we can learn from their competitors to see how they manage their costs as well, to see if we can get a competitive advantage over our competitors.
So if you look at it from that angle, what are the quick success factors you might need to associate with looking at costs? Price competitiveness, the price competitiveness. Because why would you have to look at price competitiveness? Sorry? Higher costs? Let me rephrase it. If you're looking at costs, why then might you want to focus also on price competitiveness? You come to the right. If you're looking at cost, why might you want to focus on price?
Because the more you cost it, the more you got to owe at the end of the day.
You're on the right track, but you got to tighten up the reasoning a bit.
For example, Harley Division is a more luxury motorcycle. So for instance, in the era of Honda and Yamaha, they got cheaper bikes and stuff that people more familiar with to get parts and stuff and things like that easy. So people more gravitate to the cheaper products because they could get, well, they got the money number one and the parts and stuff is more reasonable for them to.
You're correct, but we're talking about focusing on managing costs, and we want to identify, you started it, why is price competitiveness something you need to focus on?
Because the higher the cost, the higher the price. The lower the cost, the lower the price.
Well, all things being equal, put it that way, but she's correct. If I don't manage my costs, that will likely impact on my price.
I don't want that. I feel like that might not be necessarily true because some people like focus on value-based costing, so it depends on like their feedback from the consumers rather than the amount that they put in. Not saying that that's what Harley Davidson does, but just saying.
Here it said all things being equal, because there's a caveat. That's why I said all things being equal, but generally speaking, if I don't control my costs, there's a higher probability that it's going to impact on my price. Okay? Because costs could occur at different points in the value chain. So what points in the value chain you could have costs eventually messing up your price? Inbound and source of supplies, operations, distribution, what else? What about secondary value chain? Human resources, union pushing up wages, research and development. Okay? So Chris, you're correct in the sense. There are a number of other factors, but in principle, if you really, but what thing in this CPM would cause us to focus on this issue of cost? The same factor. What things would cause us to focus on costs?
Price competitiveness.
Excellent. Because price competitiveness is a critical success factor. It's one of the important ones we're focusing on. It means that your competitors are pricing their products much better than you, and you are not as competitive. And what's the rating for? The rating is A1, which means it's a major weakness, meaning that your price is way out of whack. So, Crystal, what's your argument for that?
Sir, because Harley Davidson is like this like high-end brand. I speak really loud. Can you push it back? Harley Davidson is like this high-end brand, and like Honda and Yamaha, they have like a wider, I won't say target market. You know what I mean? So they reach out to like different persons. But Harley Davidson, you got like a lot of cash to like really own a Harley Davidson.
So what other factor in this CPM you could use to argue your case that Harley Davidson is different? Product quality and customer loyalty is something else too. Price in itself could be related to a couple of things. It could be related to, I have a reasonably low product, but I sell a lot, or I don't sell a lot, but my price higher, but I'm still making profits, because I don't think we have profitability here. So what do you want to focus on then? I can sell a lot of products at a lower price, or a little bit of products at a higher price, market share. So what is Harley's market share? 2, meaning they won't sell a lot of products. So Crystal, there's validity in your argument. So the point I'm making, folks, there are different students who will bring different arguments, right? And I wanted to emphasize, that this is what I'm looking for in the exam. Not that you are right, but that you can bring a position and argue for your position in a logical way and use your arguments. So the other argument, again, the argument I'm making is this. All right, yes, you want to focus on these kind of premium, high-cost motorcycles, but look at global expansion. Two. So are you endangering yourself that you're not diversifying your product line enough that you could, in case something happens with this American brand that a lot of Americans like, and that American market drops, that you're in trouble? Yes, Crystal?
Sir, but you don't really, they shouldn't really like try to expand because, again, their product is so expensive, right? Maybe if they created something a bit cheaper, then it would make sense to expand, but at this point, it does not.
But there's something the CPM that would argue, why they can't expand? You're on the ball, man. You're on the ball. Financial position, they got the money to expand. Even if they wanted to, they all go get a big loan, and then your financial position is not good. Excellent. They all think that's what they want for. Once you bring that thing into the exam, you're all good. You all then go home and read through the text looking for growth to prepare an exam in advance, you see. So folks, that's what we did. You just need to prepare yourselves. Under exam conditions, you can follow that same reasoning and logic. But was it difficult? It's not for them saying, it's just a different way of thinking about how you write, right? And to know I'm not looking for the answer, I'm looking for thinking and reasoning and logical connections. So let's look at the recommendations now. What are the, let me go to my Antiguan posse. What recommendations have you made?
One of the recommendations is to
Give me one of your recommendations.
strategic cost analysis, where you deal with the activity-based costing based on the other companies. You see where you cut the price.
So they're saying, one, before we rush to look at our price, we first need to do strategic cost analysis to find out where we have, what are the kind of words you think I would want for you to mention, where we have cost advantages, cost disadvantages, and you want to find the cost drivers that might be pushing your cost up. And for a company like Harley-Davidson, based on what Crystal said, what do you think might be some of the factors that might push price up?
Their raw materials, maybe they're using premium or expensive materials to make their bikes.
Excellent. Excellent. So in other words, if you are producing premium bikes, you need to buy quality. So what kind of argument you think you can bring now of some of the things that might need to look at in trying to bring down the cost? If you're buying premium materials, you've done your cost analysis, strategic cost analysis, so you don't have all the information, so you have to make some assumptions. So what might be some of the assumptions you will make about these high quality premium motorcycles using premium parts? What might be some of the things they can do? What can they do? Premium motorcycles, we go right in the back. Premium motorcycles, premium parts.
I had differentiation as one of my strategies.
Go ahead. How can they differentiate then?
I was saying specifically because of their premium product that we could differentiate the area of technological advances.
So, but differentiation can push the quality up. So you need to clarify when you say differentiation, is it differentiating up or differentiating down? But Crystal's point was maybe they need to look at a more economy type of motorcycle as opposed to these high quality premium motorcycles.
And for that same point, I was thinking since Harley-Davidson is such a niche brand, and they may have to do multi-branding where they have another name for the e-commerce type of vehicle that they want to implement.
Excellent. So what they're doing, if they now want to reduce costs and they want to look for an alternative value motorcycle, what do they have to do then? Before they manufacture these new value budget motorcycles, they need to look at the value chain and their sources of raw materials, which could mean that they could consider backward integrating. If you had to make, final question, if you had to make a recommendation as to which of these companies Harley should integrate with, they should engage in horizontal integration, which company would you recommend them to integrate with?
I would recommend Honda because Honda they have an excellent financial position, and they also do well with price competitiveness and product quality.
Is Yamaha bad financially? No. So I am the owner of Honda. Look at my strengths. Customer service, Harley 4 and 3, we both strong. International marketing, I am 4, you are 3, I am more powerful than you. Global expansion, I am 4, I am 2, you weak. Financial position, I am 4, you are 2, what value you want to bring to me? Right. Market share, I am 4, you are 2, you ain't bringing any customers to me that I want. Product quality, I am 3, 4, we are both strong. Marketing, you're weak. Price competitiveness, I will struggle. So why do I want to go with Honda? Sorry?
I understand what you say about Honda being superior and not wanting to drag along quote unquote their way. But Yamaha is in a similar position to, well, Yamaha in certain areas in a similar position to Harley as well, so you can usually see an argument for Yamaha as to why they don't want to do anything with Harley.
What are Yamaha's strengths? Of course they have strengths. Have a minor strength in advertising, minor strength in top management. They have a minor strength in global, they've gone global. Financial position, they have a minor strength. Market share, they have a minor strength. Right? So when they produce these more economy motorcycles, where am I going to push them? In the US? Because if I try to push them in the US, I might be mixing up my brand, so maybe sell these cheap motorcycles overseas. I'm not saying he's wrong, I'm just trying to challenge your thinking. Marketing, you'll be, both of us be in marketing. Yes, Crystal?
I don't know. No, not really, but to like help it in a way though, Harley Davidson kind of bring in customer loyalty, and then they also like do good advertising as well, and Honda doesn't, so like they can help push their brand as well.
So what do you think would be the biggest challenge, even if you say integrate with Honda, what might be the biggest challenge for Harley if it is going towards integration? What do you think might be the biggest challenge for Harley in pushing integrating with Honda?
Getting them to agree to integrate. Why? Because people are the winners where Honda's in a stronger position than Harley's, why they want to integrate with someone that's below them.
Correct, it's power. And Honda will have to make a decision. Do I really want to join this company that is not as strong as I am? So Honda will have to go into the power position, meaning we want to take control of this integration. Right? So I don't think Harley will go in a power position. So the danger with merging with somebody who is more powerful than you, that they can eventually take over your company. No, I'm not saying your recommendation is wrong. You just need to acknowledge there are potential weaknesses or threats, but it's not a wrong recommendation. You just need to justify your recommendation. So it's reasonably good. But just know, whether you choose Honda or Yamaha, what may be the challenges from either side, you see. Give yourselves a hand, folks. That was pretty good. Give yourselves a hand, please. That's excellent. So, that, folks, is in essence what is required if you're doing a competitive profile matrix question in the exam. So the second question we want to look at is that related to your space matrix. So I want you to do a similar thing with a similar question, only thing change it now to the CPM, from the CPM to space. You have been asked to 1, analyze the space matrix and highlight the most critical issues. But the change would be, what competitive strategies would you recommend that Harley should utilize based on the space matrix? What competitive or corporate strategies would you recommend Harley to utilize based on this space matrix? What are the strategies? So I'll just change the question a bit, and then we'll look at this space matrix. And we have some nice financial information for you. So before you get to the question, just let me clarify something with the space. Now, folks, the thing about the space that is different to the grand strategy, that the space with the grand strategy would have on the x-axis. What runs on the x-axis of the grand strategy? Strong competitive position to weak competitive position. So it's a continuum, whereas on the y-axis you have, strong market growth versus weak market growth. But with the space, you would realize on the positive side of the y-axis, financial stability. On the positive side of the x-axis, it is industry stability. On the negative side of the y-axis, it is environmental stability. And on the negative side of the x-axis, you have competitive stability. So the other thing to note, folks, is that the score or the coordinates for the space are based on the aggregate of these 4 positions. For example, the financial stability is calculated based on what we have here, 5 ratios: return on investment, liquidity, etc. And you have the 3.8, which will be the average rating. The environmental stability also have 5 factors, which are external, competitive, pressure, barriers to entry, and unemployment, and an average of 0.34, negative 0.34. The competitive stability, market share, product quality, customer loyalty, again, negative 2.4. And the industry stability looks at the growth potential, profit potential, etc. Now, the coordinates are mapped and then a vector is drawn. So you're not so much concerned about the point as the vector and the direction in which the vector is going at. So you realize the x-axis is 0.08 and the y 0.04. So once you plot those, you just draw the vector which falls within the aggressive quadrant. And in the aggressive quadrant, you would have the integration strategies as choices. You would have the intensive strategies, market development, product development as choices, and the diversification strategies. Right? Now, in analyzing what quadrant it falls in, don't just try to look at financial stability and industry stability, because as I said, the coordinates are an aggregate. If you look at the calculation at the bottom, that's why I put it there, and the exam should have a similar thing. The y-axis is made up of financial stability plus environmental stability, and the x-axis is made up of competitive stability plus industry stability. So you're answering the question like this in the exam. It is best to look at the coordinates and what the ratings tell you. If you look at the y-axis, we will see here the financial stability is at a 3.8 as an average. So it is best to look at these factors that will show, okay, return on investment, 2, that's low. Industry leverage, 2, but it has liquidity, 5. So 3.8 closer to 5 means this financial stability looks pretty good. That's what I suggested. So more look at what these factors are telling you about the company before you make a decision as to which of those competitive strategies to utilize. It looks at the environmental stability, which is the external environment, and it has a negative 3.4. Remember we said the more you get to the negative number, the bigger the negative number, the worse off the company is going. Right? So you could argue this is about midpoint. Right? Midpoint is not very bad, it's not very good. But you can see the factors that are pulling it down. Unemployment, right? Which is not a company factor. It's not, in other words, the challenge here is the company might not be finding enough people to employ. That's what I suggested. Negative 3 is not really bad, but the lower ones would be the competitive pressure, meaning there's a lot of competition, and the barriers to entry might be some of the issues that might be impacting on the company. And again, the negative 3.4, more of an average rating. And you can finally look at the competitive stability. And again, negative 2.4, which suggests it's not doing badly in relation to the competitive stability, sorry, is not pretty, it's not bad. It's tending closer to 0. But you can look at individual factors if you care to. So you realize the stronger ones will be market share, which means that's good in terms of the company, product quality. That is also pretty good. Customer loyalty, that is also pretty good. The ones that are not as strong would be the competitions, capacity utilization, and technological know-how. Right? So look at each factor in helping you to make a decision on whether they can adopt market development or product development. So to give you an example, suppose you wanted to recommend market development. What might be some of the factors you might need to consider in making a recommendation of market development? What might you want to consider in making a decision for market development? What is market development all about? Going to a new geographical market. So what will be involved in that? Barriers to entry in that market. What else? Your financial position. Because once you're going in another geographic location, you need to have money. So you will need to look here to determine what's the financial stability of the company. 3.8, yeah, that's pretty good. So maybe they might be able to afford. When you look at liquidity, liquidity is 5 million, they got a lot of cash. They got money. Right? Cash flow 5, right? Working capital. So this company really has the money. If it wanted to get into product development. So product development requires, what is required for product development? Sorry? Research and development. But research and development requires money. You see, so I'm saying make those kind of logical connections, whatever recommendations. I don't know the recommendations you're going to make. I don't have recommendations down. But whatever recommendations you have, you should look at any factor here to show would this a reasonable right? Suppose they wanted to enlarge the manufacturing processes. Right? They wanted to enlarge their manufacturing processes. They want to expand the manufacturing of their products. What might be the challenge for them wanting to expand their products and make more products? They want to make more products. They want to manufacture more products. What might impact on that, other than the finances we mentioned? You know, finances, they have to do it. What is required in manufacturing products? Raw materials, what else? Technological know-how, what else? Humans, staff. So what is it saying about the human resources? It is saying unemployment is a -5, which means -5, is it good or bad? It's bad. So it means there's a problem. Is there a problem for a company, or is it a good thing? Is unemployment a good thing for the company or a bad thing? Sorry? Well, it depends. Excellent. And that's the point I wanted to highlight, right? The key thing would be, do these unemployed people have the skills and competencies you desire? Right? If they don't, it means you don't need to find money to train them. But in principle, where there's high unemployment, it could be potential for the company, which means that if they have the general skills you need to manufacture your products, it means that you can keep the cost low by, sorry? Well, not she said paying them small wages, right? But you're not exploiting them, but it means that you have more control over wage inflation that you don't necessarily, if it was a shortage of labor, it means that the company might have to pay premium rates to get people. But when unemployment tends to be high, people tend to be able to take a job or whatever because they just want work. So I want you, for the time left, based on those examples, look at this SPACE matrix, analyze it, and then, in addition to what I said just now, I want you to come up with new things. I want you to make some recommendations. What strategies would you recommend Percy to utilize? Because that's the essence of a SPACE matrix or brand strategy. It helps you to identify the most critical strategies that the company could utilize. But as I said, under exam conditions, you will not have strategies in any of the boxes. Just as you see it here is what you will get, which means if it falls in the defensive quadrant, you need to know what strategies are required there. If it falls in the conservative quadrant, you need to know what strategies fall there. If it falls in the competitive quadrant, you also need to know what strategies actually fall within the competitive quadrant. So give you another 10 minutes, look at the matrix, analyze it, and then make a set of recommendations of the type of strategies you think that may be most appropriate for Percy to pursue.